back with a very, very important live video today, guys. You might want to grab your notepad, grab your pen or something, because today we about to ruffle a lot of feathers. Today is going to get controversial, all right? Notification just went out. We're going to get into it. Pay very close attention. If you see the title, you'll see what's going on here, right? So let's get to it. I got my matriarch here. We're supposed to teach them when they're young. And what I'm about to read is for the young and the old. All right? Let's get it. Women who changed the course of history. This scroll is intended to help guide the pure sisters to the right path. I wrote this scroll for my daughters so they may know what can happen without self-control. Men, pay attention, men are not to try and use this to verbally abuse women because the evils and wicked deeds of man are too great to put into any book. Pay attention. This scroll is dedicated to the women of the world, both young and old. All of you must be made conscious of your nature in totality, and you must ponder on the potentials that you have. All women are capable or have the capabilities to be the backbone of men in their greatness and in their failures. Living as the backbone of a man gives him the ability to dominate great nations or to cause destruction of a people. As you review history, you will find that women have in some way or another caused downfalls of great men and empires. In spite of these alterations in destiny, which have prolonged the natural order of things, the Elohim have always managed to straighten out these errors. This is the power of our ancestors. With something on there? Okay. The women in this scroll tell you about the qualities you have as a woman. Some are agreeable, some are disagreeable. Even today, you have women acting the part of non-ether devils as they strive to find a place and position in this society. They will step on the Nawabian man. They will seek out men of other species for their status and position. Then when nothing else works, they will put themselves into a comatose state. The day has finally arrived for men to realize that we do a poor job of ruling and keeping peace with ourselves, as well as with nature. The divine spark of Mother Nettie is ready to shine forth from the Nawabian woman, that they may take their rightful place as the true mothers of all civilization. And no longer do we have to say that behind every good man, there is a good woman. Instead, we say that beside every good man is his good woman. And they stand as one. Everything straight? You good? Appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that's watching, guys. This is Brothers to Death, #BTD. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Right now, we're talking about women who changed the course of history, and we're going to find out the real truth about who was here first. Who came first, right? Let's continue. All right, so the divine spark of Mother Nettie is ready to shine forth from the Nawabian woman, that they may take their rightful place as the true mothers of all civilization. No longer do we say that behind every good man, there is a good woman. Instead, we say that beside every good man is his good woman, and they stand as one. The Luciferians have played a large part in these disagreeable acts of women. Let me take you to the beginning, when it all began. There is no difference between a male. What's going on? What?
Somebody hit you up.
What?
LeBron.
Oh, okay. All right. And there's no difference between a male or female in the eyes of the Most High. In fact, pay attention. In fact, earth men came from women. Let me repeat that. In fact, earth men came from women, not women from man. The reptiles are the only species that can reproduce interchangeably, meaning that if there were only a male, then the male can transfigure to a female. If there was only a female, then the female can transfigure to a male. All other species have come by way of the female birth canal. Listen, for the Hebrew Israelites, that's who we are, and the children of the Anunnaki, according to the Torah of the Israelites, from which the Quranic stories were taken, it reads, and pay attention, and from the X chromosomes, which Yahuwah of the Elohim ordered the great scientist Nergal. I did a previous video about the chosen physician to do this stuff. One of them is named Nergal in Aristogat. Somebody said something? Okay. Just let me know if somebody says anything. Scientist Nergal, to take from the atom, he genetically bred in the genes of Ptah, Cushites, the Bushman tribe, and Anak, the Dogon tribes, a female child, Eve, and brought her from Kodesh, where she was born in the enclosed garden from the Adam. And the Adam said to the Elohim Kakael, who is also called Radwan or Uriel, Eve, Nichabal, is of my very own flesh and bone transplant. She was taken out of my very genes. The highest laws state a male living being is supposed to leave his tribe and join his wife's tribe, and they will become the same tribe, Adamites. Now we're about to break down what happened, right? What these words mean. When you look closely at this quote, the Hebrew word used for rib is taselah, which means side, rib, and beam. Many biblical scholars use the word rib, yet they never look at the Hebrew meaning to find that in Genesis 2:22, the word being used is taselah. This word is only found in one other place in the entire Old Testament, which is found in Daniel 7:5. And is being used for a mythological beast having 3 ribs. So the point I am making is that most preachers are referring to Genesis 2:22-24 as a little rib that Yahuwah Elohim, Lord God, had taken from man to make a woman. However, in Hebrew, the word made is banah, and it means to build, to rebuild, to establish, cause to continue, it is to accomplish as found in Genesis 1:26. When referring to the making of man, now you were to go to the Quran 23:14. It says, and I quote, "We made a fetus lump, then we made out of that lump bones and clothed the bones with flesh. Then we developed out of it another creature." The Assyric word being used in this quote for bones is Osman. This here is the rib skeleton. This here is the bone marrow. We're going to get into it. And the Arabic Hebrew word also that is used in Genesis 2:18 are both used to signify rebuilding something, not creating something new. Okay? Now let's get into it. This is what happened. This, in actuality, we are talking about some type of scientific experiment, which has nothing to do with men having one of his ribs removed from his rib cage. For if that was the case, men would have one less rib than woman, and they don't. However, blood in the marrow of the bones of the rib cage is often selected by scientists to do cloning or genetic experimenting. In the case of Cadmon, who is Adam, and Nicobah, who is Eve, that is exactly what took place. The experiment was performed by the great scientist and chemist named Nergal of the cuneiform tablets. This is a question and answer format. What do you mean when you say Genesis 2:22-24 was a scientific experiment? Answer: it is a historical fact that some scientists who were called the Elohim in Genesis or the Anunnaki in the ancient tablets took from a being called Adamah or earthling in cuneiform, who is later called Adam in Hebrew. The Elohim performed surgery on Adam in order to breed a mate from him. But the gene mix came from one of the supreme beings who is indeed a female named Neti, a Nehursag. It was her divine blood that was used to clone the first man of this era called Adam. And from him, they cloned another being whom they referred to as Eve, Nicobah, mixing his blood as a Cuttite with that of a Puttite to make a helpmate for him. In other words, there were tribes of people on earth before your Adam and Eve story. And it was from them which enabled your Eve to be cloned. The human beings on this planet came by way of a female named Neti, who was an Elohim Anunnaki. Everything good? All right. This is a picture of these beings. Here is Eve, daughter of Anath and Ptah. Neti, also called Nehursag, daughter of Sai and Anu Elion El, the Most High. Cadmon, Adam, son of Atum, Lilith. All right. All right, now. Is there anyone else who believes that woman came from the man? Yes. Of Parthogenesis, which is called Parthenianism, it teaches that man came out of a woman. It is a scientific fact that women have things inside of their bodies that men don't have. However, everything inside of a man's body can be found in the woman's body. In fact, the reason why men have breasts and nipples and don't breastfeed is because they are actually in the image and after the likeness of a woman. And you should know that a man's sexual reproductive organs is actually elongated from the woman's. I have to keep it clean. There's also a new study called Mitochondria E, where certain genes are only passed from mother to daughter and is not passed to the son. These genes are found in the lower part of the DNA called the mitochondrial DNA. How does Nakash use the woman to do the unrighteous deeds? Nakash is the being that did everything in the garden. Okay, I did a couple videos about that being. You can go back through our live feeds. They're there. Please check it out. So Nakash made a promise to the Most High that he would take as many souls off the path of the rightly guided as he could. He has been using the woman as one of his tools to get to the man. Nakash will always do treacherous things like sneak, connive, lie, and do preposterous things. He is so low that he even pretends to be righteous to win your soul. Remember, he said he would wait for anyone who is on the right path, which means he will pretend he is righteous just to lead you off the path. It states right in your Quran 15:39-40, and I quote, Iblis said, "O my Lord, because thou hast put me in the wrong, I will make wrong fair seeming to them on earth, and I will put them all in the wrong. Except thy servants among them, sincere and purified. This is the promise of the evil one, Nakash, and the woman is his prime target. You know this is true because in Genesis 3:15, where it says he will put hatred between the man and the woman. Genesis 3:15. And I will arouse hatred in the midst of your descendants and Eve's. We are the descendants. Descendants. Your hate will be cunning and conniving as to approach from the lower hill as a snake when it bites. And their hate will be a bruise to your heads. All right, we're going to break this down right quick. Then I'm going to have to get ready to wrap it up, guys. So the word enmity is defined as the attitudes or feelings of an enemy or enemies, hostility, to contend against, to oppose, to struggle for mastery with another, to contend against in any kind. Other attributes that Nakash has shown towards the woman is envy, jealousy, deceitfulness, covetousness, and desire. All of these qualities are negative and have been used by women throughout history. They are still being used by women to this day. All right, we're going to stop here. What did the Most High say about disobedient women? Answer. According to Quran 66:10, it says, and I quote, God sets forth for an example to unbelievers, the wife of Noah and the wife of Lot. They were respectively under two of our righteous servants, but they were false to their husbands, and they profited nothing before God on their account. But we're told, enter ye the fire along with others that entered. Meaning to be treacherous, unfaithful, acting treacherously. This signifies many things, including to be unfaithful, acting unfaithfully to confidence, to trust, to deceive, to violate a covenant, and to cheat. And it is in reference to Wala, the wife of Noah, a prophet, and Sabria, the wife of Lot, a faithful servant to the Most High. Both of these women were disobedient to their husbands and received a severe punishment for their actions. So these women were obedient to the Most High, but they were disobedient to their husbands. Right? We're going to stop there. I'm going to come back and do a part 2 for this as well. Again, this is the women who changed the course of history. And who came first, man or woman? We just answered those right there. And then we're going to go through the women who changed the course of history. Take notes, pay attention. This is very important for men, women, young, and old. All right? It's time to get our house in order. Brothers to death, gone.